Lil Durk just walked away with the kind of courtroom victory that made rap timeline start celebrating like the prison gates had already swung open. Rappers, bloggers, and fans immediately began yelling, "Smirk is coming home," while social media transformed into a championship parade with absolutely no permission from the judge. But hold the confetti, cancel the welcome home Lamborghini, and somebody please read the ruling before ordering matching free Durk outfits. Because Durk won something major, but not what half the internet thinks he won. A federal judge agreed to separate newly added racketeering-related counts from Durk's August trial, handing his defense a serious pretrial advantage. That means prosecutors cannot simply drag an enormous pile of fresh Chicago allegations into the Los Angeles case at the last minute and expect everybody to keep smiling. Durk's attorneys pushed back, the judge questioned the government's strategy, and the defense finally got the ruling it wanted. For one dramatic afternoon, the prosecution's master plan looked like a WWE entrance that ended with somebody tripping over the ropes. But Durk was not acquitted. His original case did not disappear, and no judge announced that he was heading home. He remains in federal custody while prosecutors prepare to argue that he was connected to an alleged murder-for-hire plot targeting Quando Rondo. So, while supporters were posting victory emojis, the August 20th trial was still sitting in the background like the final boss nobody defeated. This was relief, not freedom, man. That difference changes everything. Now the rap world is splitting into two loud, emotional camps. One side believes this ruling exposed cracks in the government's case, while the other says prosecutors merely lost one round before the real fight begins. And once you examine what the judge removed, what evidence may still reach the jury, and what separate legal battle could follow afterward, this victory starts looking far more complicated. Because Lil Durk may have escaped one courtroom trap, but the next one is already waiting. The celebration started before half the internet had even finished reading the headline. Because patience apparently gets suspended whenever Lil Durk's name enters a courtroom. 1 minute, Judge Michael W. Fitzgerald was issuing a technical pretrial ruling. The next, timelines were behaving as though Durk had moonwalked out of federal custody wearing a championship belt. Rap pages posted victory graphics. Supporters flooded comment sections with "Smirk coming home," and reaction channels began serving freedom predictions hotter than evidence. There was only one inconvenient detail standing in the middle of that digital parade. Durk had won a significant motion, but his original murder-for-hire trial was still scheduled for August 20. To understand why the ruling mattered, rewind to the federal case that has kept Durk behind bars and turned his music career into a legal thriller with no commercial breaks. Prosecutors allege that Durk, whose legal name is Durk Banks, participated in a plot targeting rapper Quando Rondo following the 2020 death of King Von. According to the government, several alleged associates traveled to Los Angeles in August 2022, tracked Quando's movements, and opened fire near a gas station, killing his cousin Saviaya Robinson, known publicly as Lil Pab. Durk has pleaded not guilty, and the accusations remain allegations unless prosecutors prove them beyond a reasonable doubt. Federal authorities say the alleged operation involved interstate travel, firearms, hotel arrangements, and expenses connected to members of Durk's only the family circle. The original indictment charged him with conspiracy, using interstate facilities in a murder-for-hire resulting in death, and firearms offenses carrying extremely serious potential consequences. That was already enough legal weight to make most defendants feel as though a Marvel villain had dropped a courthouse on their chest. Yet with the August trial approaching, prosecutors did not simply polish the case they already had. They expanded it, introducing new racketeering-related allegations connected to separate incidents in Chicago. Suddenly, one enormous legal battle appeared ready to swallow another. Durk's attorneys immediately objected, arguing that prosecutors had spent nearly 2 years constructing a California murder-for-hire case before arriving close to trial with a much broader narrative. The defense said the newly added allegations involved different events, witnesses, evidence, and years of additional history that could not reasonably be absorbed at the last minute. In plain language, the government appeared to be delivering a second season, 3 spin-offs, and 10,000 pages of bonus footage, while demanding that the defense premiere everything on the original release date. Durk's legal team asked Fitzgerald to sever the fresh counts or dismiss them on speedy trial grounds. The defense's message was sharp. Prosecutors should not be allowed to enlarge the battlefield weeks before jurors entered the room, then act surprised when preparation became impossible. Durk's attorneys had already described the expanded indictment as lipstick on a pig, essentially accusing the government of dressing up a disputed theory with more dramatic labels rather than stronger proof. That phrase alone flew through rap media like somebody had thrown a microphone into a courtroom cage match. But underneath the theatrics was a serious constitutional argument about trial preparation, fairness, and whether unrelated or loosely connected allegations could unfairly influence jurors evaluating the original Los Angeles charges. Then came the July 14th hearing, where the energy reportedly shifted in a way prosecutors probably did not include in their morning vision board. Fitzgerald pressed the government over why severing the newly added counts would actually damage its ability to prosecute the original case. According to courtroom reporting, he questioned the timing, challenged the government's logic, and appeared openly unconvinced that both sprawling matters needed to move together. This was not Durk being declared innocent, and it was not the judge throwing the entire prosecution into a trash can. Still, watching a federal judge scrutinize the government's strategy that aggressively gave the defense something it had rarely received during this case. Visible momentum. Fitzgerald ultimately granted the motion to sever the newly added Chicago-related counts, meaning those allegations would not be presented as part of the August 20th Los Angeles trial. That ruling immediately narrowed what Durk and his attorneys must confront in the first proceeding, preventing prosecutors from combining multiple incidents into one giant narrative of alleged criminal enterprise. It was a genuine strategic victory, especially because an expanded case could have introduced more witnesses, more inflammatory accusations, and more opportunities for jurors to judge Durk through the atmosphere surrounding him, rather than each piece of evidence separately. But sever did not mean erased, despite social media translating legal vocabulary with the confidence of unlicensed attorneys on lunch break. The separate allegations can still return in another proceeding, while the original California prosecution continues moving toward trial. That distinction was almost immediately buried beneath victory posts, celebratory emojis, and predictions that Durk's first day out would become a historic moment in rap. The transcripts circulated around the ruling even suggested that the decision nearly guaranteed he would beat the case, while clips of family members, friends, and artists were edited into a full-scale comeback narrative. Yet no public ruling announced his release, no jury had considered the evidence, and no charge in the original case had magically evaporated. The internet had turned one successful motion into the season finale before Episode 1 reached trial. That emotional overreaction makes sense when you consider how long Durk has remained detained and how severe his lawyers say the conditions became. His defense previously alleged that he spent more than 130 days in restrictive isolation after authorities claimed he possessed an unauthorized Apple Watch. Attorneys said he was confined for approximately 23 hours each day, received extremely limited telephone access, and endured conditions they argued lacked proper disciplinary process. Those claims created another layer of outrage among supporters, who viewed the severance ruling not merely as legal strategy, but as the first hopeful crack in a system they believe has been pressing Durk from every possible direction. But hope and legal reality are two entirely different roommates, and these two are currently fighting over the thermostat. Durk has previously been denied bond despite proposing a substantial release package, and he remains accused of directing a plot that resulted in a man's death. Prosecutors will still attempt to connect travel records, alleged communications, financial activity, witness testimony, and other evidence to their theory of retaliation. Durk's defense, led by high-profile attorneys including Drew Findling and Brian Steele, will attack those connections, question the reliability of the government's witnesses, and argue that fame, lyrics, friendships, and association do not equal criminal responsibility. The real confrontation has not even begun. When the courthouse celebration cooled, the aftermath looked less like a victory parade and more like winning only the first quarter. Durk's team had removed counts 1 and 6 from the August 20th proceeding, but counts 2 through 5 remained headed toward a jury. Judge Fitzgerald said prosecutors had not shown they would be unfairly harmed by trying the newly added Chicago-related allegations. Separately, that gave the defense breathing room, not immunity. And every case dismissed graphic online immediately began aging beneath the courtroom lights in real time. For Durk personally, the ruling created a brutal emotional split. His lawyers forced the government to retreat, yet he remained in federal custody. A previous proposal offering up to $4.5 million, home detention, electronic monitoring, and private security had failed to persuade Fitzgerald to release him. So while supporters pictured studio reunions and a blockbuster first day out record, the actual next step was preparing for trial behind bars, with no release order. One major door opened inside court, while the door controlling his freedom stayed firmly locked. The reputational battle entered a stranger phase, because the public was no longer arguing only about guilt or innocence. People were fighting over what victory meant. Fans treated severance as proof prosecutors had overreached, while critics answered that the core murder for hire allegations remained. Durk has pleaded not guilty and is presumed innocent, but his name now sits beside a federal narrative involving retaliation, travel, firearms, money, and Saviaya Robinson's death. Before jurors decide anything, old lyrics, friendships, interviews, and posts risk being reinterpreted through that shadow across every major platform. The defense now has a cleaner battlefield, but cleaner does not mean comfortable, because emotionally explosive material may still reach jurors. Fitzgerald previously allowed testimony and surveillance surrounding Kingvin's death as potentially relevant to motive, while limiting some proposed lyric evidence. Prosecutors want selected messages, music imagery, and words to become pieces of one alleged retaliation story. Durk's attorneys will argue that art and association are being converted into criminal proof. That clash could reopen the industry-wide fight over whether rap expression is evidence or performance before a highly attentive jury. Alliances will be tested once witnesses take the stand, because supportive calls and free smirk posts are easy when nobody faces cross-examination. The source video interpreted custody changes as proof of cooperation and connected unreleased creative material to alleged leaks. Without firm public confirmation, those claims can power 10 live streams, but a federal courtroom requires testimony, records, and evidence capable of surviving defense challenges. The real fracture will come if prosecutors identify cooperators and Durk's lawyers expose plea incentives, contradictions, grudges, or credibility problems before the jury. Under federal evidentiary rules, the severed counts are not floating into a legal Bermuda Triangle where paperwork disappears and everyone forgets the allegations existed. Reporting on Fitzgerald's order says the Chicago-related counts are expected to be tried separately, although scheduling remains undetermined. Durk could therefore fight the August case, while another federal confrontation waits beyond it after the first verdict. A legal sequel nobody requested. Winning the first trial would bring enormous relief, but it might not produce the clean ending supporters already imagine whenever they type home soon. The consequences extend beyond freedom, because only the family, Durk's catalog, business relationships, and public identity have all entered the case's atmosphere throughout the music industry. Prosecutors describe OTF as connected to the alleged operation, while Durk's side disputes the criminal meaning attached to his organization, music, and associations. Every headline can affect how collaborators, sponsors, listeners, and executives calculate risk, even though an indictment is not a conviction. In celebrity culture, Algorithms often sentence reputations months before jurors receive instructions, and later acquittals cannot always erase viral impressions. Public confusion will intensify as August approaches, especially when evidentiary rulings circulate without context and both camps claim each one as total victory. A lyric admitted will be announced as proof, an excluded line will become case collapsing, and every procedural disagreement will receive Marvel final battle music. Reality remains less cinematic. Prosecutors must establish every charged element beyond a reasonable doubt, while the defense only needs to create reasonable doubt. That is why severance matters enormously without predicting which side will control the verdict once statements begin. For Durk's family and supporters, the emotional stakes cannot be reduced to memes, because this prosecution has consumed nearly 2 years of his life and career. His attorneys previously alleged that he spent 131 days in restrictive isolation after an unauthorized Apple Watch dispute, with severely limited communication and visitation. A successful motion may feel like proof that resistance is finally working, even when it produces no immediate reunion outside court. Hope is doing heavy labor, carrying an entire community across a gap. The ruling did not close during final countdown, and that leaves the season finale twist beneath every celebratory reaction. The government lost the right to combine everything, but not the right to continue fighting. On August 20th, jurors are still expected to confront the original Los Angeles allegations, disputed motive evidence, contested communications, and competing accounts of what Durk knew or directed. If the defense breaks that narrative apart, severance may be remembered as the moment the prosecution structure first cracked. But if prosecutors win and later revive the separate counts, the ruling fans called freedom become only the quiet pause before a darker second chapter for everyone watching. So, what do you think? Did Lil Durk's legal team expose a serious weakness in the government's strategy? Or did prosecutors simply get told to save part of their chaos for a second courtroom? Drop your verdict in the comments, but please read the ruling before arriving dressed as Judge Judy with a TikTok law degree. The newly added counts were severed, while the original case remains headed toward its August trial, meaning this legal roller coaster is nowhere near the exit. One side is screaming major comeback, the other is predicting disaster, and the truth is standing between them holding several thousand pages of evidence. Smash that like button like it owes you bond money. Then share this video with a friend who announces charges dropped after reading only 3 words of a headline. Subscribe to the Rap Truth before the August courtroom showdown turns the entire rap internet into WWE, Marvel, and a Zeus reunion conducted under federal rules. Because when testimony begins, every witness, disputed message, viral lyric, and surprise ruling could send the story flying in a completely different direction. And trust us, the same timeline celebrating today, be arguing like unpaid attorneys before the first week of trial is finished. Until then, keep the victory champagne refrigerated, keep the freedom predictions in draft mode, and keep watching the people who suddenly became legal experts overnight. Durk won an important round, but the case that could change his freedom, career, reputation, and legacy is still waiting beneath those courthouse lights. We will be here when the next ruling drops. The reactions explode, and everybody starts pretending they predicted the outcome from the beginning. This is not gossip wearing a fake badge. This is the Rap Truth, where the headlines get questioned and the real drama gets exposed.